Thank you for joining in, everyone. We have a good deal of attendees who are here. And today, as we know, the mutual fund industry has continued to expand. And today we have one of the newer entrants, one of the newer AMCs who joined the mutual fund industry. And we have the Wealth Company's CIO, Ms. Aparna Shankar. So, Aparna, welcome to the webinar. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Suhail, for having us on your show.
Okay.
Real great pleasure.
All right. It's good to have you as well. And as we know, today's theme is practical tips for to MFDs to implement asset allocation. So, as we also know, you've launched a recent NFO called Multi-Asset Allocation Fund. At beginning, I'd just like to get your thoughts on asset allocation and why you've launched this fund at this particular time.
Yeah, so great question, Suhail. To start with, asset allocation is, the first determinant of the risk and return in any asset investments, wealth creation on the wealth creation journey. I think if you go right on asset allocation, a lot of your, kind of difficulties are eliminated because this is the first step. I mean, most of the times, you should go right on the asset allocation. It is fine if you are not, not so savvy about uh, which fund in the asset allocation, if it is in equity, which funds you are buying, if it is a combination of different fund, that doesn't have huge impact on the outcome of the investments. But asset allocation, if you are not rightly placed in an asset which is doing well or expected to do well, then the whole wealth creation journey goes for a toss. So instead of investing into equity, if you invest into debt, or when the gold is not doing well, if you are invested heavily into gold, and then the total portfolio, as a portfolio combination of these different assets, the combined returns what you generate may be very different than what if you would have had a proper right kind of an asset allocation.
Correct. All right.
So that is very essential, and we believe that multi-asset allocation is a wonderful product. In a sense, it's a classic product, and all mutual fund distributors should advise or promote this product and request the investors to, when they start their journey of a wealth creation, this product should be the first product to start investing, and this product should be held for a longer period of time. And the another beauty of this product is that because of the assets which are less correlated with each other, the drawdown or the fall into the kind of the fund is not much, as it is not as high as any equity fund.
Right.
So this is another important factor why anybody should invest into an multi-asset allocation fund.
Right. Well, I'll be asking
Just
you.
to talk about little more attributes is that SEBI has allowed this category, and the fund manager has to invest into minimum three assets. There are broadly four asset classes which I can repeat: equity, debt, commodities, which includes precious metals, and REITs and InvITs. Okay, so these major four asset categories, and out of these four categories, a fund manager has to invest into minimum three asset categories.
Right. And your fund, the NFO, the multi-asset allocation fund, what will the mix be in terms of the different assets?
Okay. Before that, I would just like to talk about what is the kind of a philosophy we have about the multi-asset allocation. How is it different from many other funds which are already available in the market? So I think there are almost 38 products which are available under MAF as a MAF fund, and almost 29 of them, that is large, I mean, huge number of funds are equity heavy.
Okay.
What does it mean is that the mandate for them, or the approval, the SID approval for them, is to invest into equities minimum 65%. Okay. With that, usually we don't, if that is the kind of a threshold, then usually we have 1-2% higher equity investments. So that means it will be a 66-67% invested into equities. And usually we have 3 to 4% as cash, just to take benefit of the different opportunities which emerge in the market. So that means almost around 70% is invested into equity plus cash. And then we have 15 to 20% as a fixed income for the stability it provides. So that means in equity plus debt, almost 85 to 90% is invested. So when then there is a very less flexibility or less scope to invest into third most important asset class, which is commodities, which includes gold, silver, and other commodities, and REITs and InvITs. So we feel that this is kind of a very restrictive kind of a mandate, and the third asset class is just treated as marginal holding, or just kind of a just for the tadka, you invest into gold or silver. So this was the first thing which we realized, and then we decided to have a to be present into second kind of a category positioning. In a sense, we can invest into equity minimum 35% and can go up to maximum 65%. What it entails is that it helps us to have other two asset classes as a prominent position. Okay, we can allocate higher weights to these asset classes depending upon the outlook. So we can invest into debt, and even after investing into debt around 20-25%, there is a still 30-35% is left where we can invest into gold, silver, and other REITs and InvITs. So I think that is a more balanced position, and that's what we are positioned. We have positioned our product. Yeah.
All right, understood. And before we go any further, I'd like to ask all the attendees that we have that at the end of our talk, we'll be having a Q&A session. So you can get all the insights you want. So in the meantime, just have your questions ready. And now we'll continue. And I wanted to get your outlook actually. As we know, there's been continued geopolitical tensions. So what's your medium to long term outlook for the Indian equity market?
Okay. So, since we are talking about multi-asset allocation fund, I would first prefer to talk about the third asset class, which is gold, silver. And there has been a very structural change in the way gold is, kind of used as an asset class. What has been the structural change and why it became so is, kind of, as you mentioned, geopolitical uncertainty. There have been a lot of troubles in the recent past, and there is a fight for superpower. There is one superpower which is already established, but there is another superpower which is emerging. And whenever there is a kind of a fight, I mean, you can think about it, like Star Wars or something like that, and there is always a trouble times, and these times don't go away very soon. These are long term fights. I mean, if you could think about in 1944 also, there was a Bretton Woods where the initially the gold was considered as a only currency of exchange, and then it in 70s it it was changed to US dollar and all that stuff. I think, and I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. From 1944 to 70, almost how many years? 24-25 years. So that kind of a long period of time we can have this kind of trouble times, and that is why the gold is behaving, I mean, at such a elevated prices. So हुआ क्या कि then when it this last war, like Russia Ukraine war, when it happened, and US kind of when they put the sanctions, they were not willing to give Russia their treasury which was held in US currency. Okay, अगर अभी फिर सारे देशों ने यही सोचा कि अगर ये एक देश के साथ ऐसे हो सकता है, तो कल को जाके हमारे साथ भी हो सकता है कभी भी. सो ऑल दैट वाज क्राइसिस ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस. किसी को यूएस के ऊपर भरोसा नहीं रहा, एंड देन दे स्टार्टेड टेकिंग आउट देयर treasuries, which central treasuries which were invest held into US dollars, started taking it out of the US dollars, but then where to invest? So I think there was no other. It can be invested in either some other currency of some other nation, or gold. Those were the only two options. I mean, if you don't have any faith in US, तो किसी और के भरोसा का तो होने का मतलब ही नहीं है. You can't have faith in China, you can't have faith in UK or no other, Middle East countries or anything. So what do? Then the country started buying gold. सो फिर अभी क्या हुआ? अभी ये डॉलर में से निकल के ये सारा सेंट्रल ट्रेजरी गोल्ड में चला गया. और वो ये जो गोल्ड है वो दैट इज नॉट गोइंग टू कम बैक इनटू सर्कुलेशन अगेन. बिकॉज अभी ये ताले में मतलब ताले को चाबी लगा के सेंट्रल ट्रेजरीज में जो रहा वो अभी अपने रिटेल इन्वेस्टर के जैसे वो के लिए नहीं आते हैं. So almost one third of the production of gold, annual production, is going into these central treasuries. Okay, so this is a kind of a classic demand supply situation. यहाँ पे सप्लाई अगर गोल्ड का प्रोडक्शन इज ऑल्सो लिमिटेड और हर साल वो कम होते जा रहा है. देर आर नो न्यू माइंस विच आर identified, or we are not getting any new gold mines. So there is a constraint on gold production. Again, the जो gold जो deplete हो रहा है, production of kind of cost of production of gold is also increasing. So that is uplifting the price. Plus there is a less of supply, but the demand तो है ही. ये सारी ट्रेजरीज की डिमांड है. हम लोग ETF में, नॉट ओनली अस इंडियन इन्वेस्टर्स बट इंटरनेशनली ऑल्सो ऑल ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर्स इन्वेस्ट इनटू गोल्ड ETFs. सो जो भी गोल्ड ETF में या सिल्वर ETF में इन्वेस्ट होता है, सो दैट काइंड ऑफ अ फिजिकल equivalent, physical gold has to be bought by the service, I mean the product provider. So agar if that demand also increases incrementally with a small percentage also, even that small percentage puts the price of the gold at a elevated level. So that is the very fundamental and material fact what we feel. In next few years gold will continue to do better as an asset class. That's why we are, come up with a multi-asset allocation fund at this point of time, considering that next few years also will be good for gold. And we have a methodology set for, allocating percentage weight to different asset classes. But since we believe that all these three asset classes are of equal importance, we start with a view on gold. Okay. Once we decide about how much to invest into gold, then we move to the next asset class. It could be gold, silver, either of that. We are also looking at some other assets to invest into, but then practically how we can do is what we are contemplating. So then we move to equity, and once we decide what is the outlook of equity, we will invest into equity, and then we will move to debt and REITs. REITs, has been generating better returns than debt, and it is not as volatile as other two asset classes are. So we'll have some weight allocated to REITs also. So
Right.
to begin with, we'll have a, kind of a core strategic positions across these four asset classes, and depending upon the outlook or the growth potential of any asset class, we will have tactical changes into the weights, and then we will decide the weights accordingly. So that is the process what we are going to follow, and we feel that we will be more agile, and we will also rebalance this on a quarterly basis if it is required. Not that कि अगर क्वार्टरली बेसिस हमने बोला है इसलिए हम लोग काइंड ऑफ रिबैलेंस करते रहेंगे. If it is required, we'll rebalance. If it is not required, we will not do. Even if it is required, before a quarter ends, so कुछ कुछ भी हो सकता है. मतलब देयर कुड बी ब्लैक स्वैन काइंड ऑफ इवेंट्स. सो उसके लिए हम लोग वेट नहीं करेंगे अगर क्वार्टर एंड होने की, तो तभी वहाँ जरूरी है वो तभी हम लोग we will rebalance the allocation.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that detailed answer. You gave a commodities outlook as well in there. So my next question, actually, I wanted to understand. You're a new AMC in a fairly competitive industry. How do you plan to differentiate your approach, and especially how do you plan to build trust amongst the distributors and the investors?
So I, again, competition is good.
Yes,
हमने तो कितने दाग अच्छे हैं, वैसे competition भी अच्छी ही है. So competition होनी चाहिए. Consumers, investors will benefit from that because the service standards of any AMC will improve. Plus, if there is a better competition, there will be, higher competition. There will be better products, and it will be in the interest of the investors is for sure. So competition is good. Another thing you said about a new AMC. Now we are almost, 3 month old AMC, and we started our rank at 49th, but with our four NFOs, I mean, four NFOs and the, AUM we garner around 2000 crores, we are already at, 42nd, rank wise. So we are not so new.
correct, correct.
See, just to give a little background, I have worked in a mutual fund industry for almost 36 years. So first 15 years I was with Unit Trust of India. And when I was in Unit Trust of India, there were only five AMCs. Okay. From in 35 years, the five AMCs have become what? 50 AMCs. So it is just 10 times growth. But I think that is very, I mean, it could have been better. So we could have had more AMCs. But now, after us, there are some more AMCs who have got, kind of a license. And then now we are not the young one. Another thing which is differentiating is that the team, what we have, the executive team, we are all senior people here. We are all seasoned people. We not only from investment, marketing, sales, operations. At every domain, we have a senior person who have 20 years plus experience. So you can't actually call us as a new MC because this is the only the license is new, but the people who are managing are all seasoned people. So we are all veterans here. So I think that should instill confidence in us. I mean, mutual fund distributors should look at it. Who are those people who are kind of managing the different aspects of an IMC, and we are all seasoned people. इवन आई गिव यू एन एग्जाम्पल. हम लोग जब भी कोई भी स्टॉक में या कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो हम लोग ये पहले देखते हैं कि हु इज द मैनेजमेंट. बिकॉज मैनेजमेंट मोड होती है. मैनेजमेंट इज डिफरेंशिएटिंग फैक्टर. सो यहाँ पे तो सारे मतलब इतने आई मीन हार्डली देयर वुड बी एनी अदर यंगर एएमसी विच हैज this kind of a depth and breadth in the senior management team. I think that should be very, kind of, you should that should instill confidence in our capabilities.
Right. Okay. And any words for the distributors regarding your AMC? Is there any initiatives you have planned or anything that you'd like to speak to the distributor community about?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, our AMC is the kind of mutual fund distributor focused AMC. So even before we got our license, the company had started a lot of initiatives to support the mutual fund distribution ecosystem. Like we have come up with this concept of MFDD, which we want to, I mean, there are only 50, 60,000 active mutual fund distributors, which is very low as compared to the other insurance kind of an industry. Okay. So first is that we need to have a wider net. I mean, we need to have many more distributors. And how do you bring more distributors to the industry? Is that also help those ladies who are willing and who have some at least 5 6 hours to spare in a day to devote, and they want to work and they want to generate income, and if they are graduate, we are here to help them for for a train with a training, and with a mentorship, with a grooming, and even with the lead generation. So that is
Right.
one thing. Another thing is we feel that training is very important for distributors because they are competing, as you said, the competition. They are competing with bank RMs. So bank RMs are more sophisticated. So how do you upgrade yourself? So there are a lot of trainings which we are, imparting for the distributors, which they can. This is without any cost to the distributors. So they, as simple as thing as like how do you create your own website? How do you, what kind of, collaterals you should carry when you are going for a meeting?
Upskilling.
Yeah, correct. So there are a lot of initiatives the Wealth Company Mutual Fund is is taking, and I think everyone should take benefit of that.
Okay, then that's great. And we've been speaking about distributors, and earlier you were talking about how your fund plans to rebalance whenever it does. But I wanted to understand, how can an MFD understand the market signals, and how does an MFD know when to increase or decrease his allocation towards different asset classes in their client's portfolio? Are there any tips that you can give?
Really, no tips for that, because I mean, you should do it provided you have the kind of resources, the time with you, and then the technical capability. If you
Right.
don't have either of these, I think you should allow these professionals to do, like professionals like mutual fund, managers. You should allow them to do on your behalf, because there is no cost involved for you. I mean, whatever they are doing, I think they are doing, looking, considering the kind of returns and the low drawdowns. I think they are also doing very good job at it. Plus, this is also tax efficient. If an individual investor wants to do this, if he wants to invest into gold ETF, and when he feels okay, I have generated the kind of return I was expecting, I will redeem these units and invest into equity. There is always a tax incidence. So that means, depending upon your slabs, you are giving away tax of almost 15 to 20% or 30% maybe. That kind of tax insurance is not there when we are reallocating or rebalancing in a mutual fund. I think this is a really beautiful product, and mutual fund distributors also should take benefit of this.
Okay, and where do you think, how can MFDs use such a product as a way to balance both returns and risk for their clients?
See, there is a concept that KYC. So that, what does it mean? Know your client. But I think now is the time that it is not about KYC, it is about UIC. Understand your client. You need to understand the client's, what are the goals for which he wants money or he wants funds. Why is he investing? How much, what is his risk appetite? How much he can invest? How he can, increase his, investment, and the amount of investment and the horizon of investment. When he would need money, how liquid that investment is, so that he can redeem those investments and fulfill the needs or the goals what he had set it for. So I think distributor has to understand, because they are the connect between the investor and us, and they know the pulse of the investor much better, and that's how they need to structure or design a product or a combination of different asset funds for them. I think that will be the only, and that's the only solution.
Okay, got it. And I think back in July, the Wealth company had spoken about wanting to expand in B30 markets.
Mhm.
Now, a lot of distributors in a earlier article Cafemutual had done spoke about the issues that they face in B30 markets. This includes lack of investor awareness. Some female MFDs face gender bias, and sometimes the investors have panic in bad times. So, are there any tips that you can give to these B30 MFDs on how they can make sure that the client stickiness stays?
I think, just to give you a data point, the fund, I mean, the four NFOs, we garner around 2,000 crores. More than 50% has come from the B30 cities, So 9,000 pin codes, and I think that's another unique achievement that shows that mutual fund distributors have, from this, I mean, B30 cities have more confidence in us than the this kind of the other cities. In fact, when I said that I have traveled almost 25, 26 cities in last 22 days, most of them were the smaller cities, not the metros, but the non-metro cities. And I see the kind of interest in the understanding the product, the kind of questions, the quality of question is very much better than top tier cities or metros.
Interesting.
So I think they are understanding that, and I mean, it's these are smaller towns, or maybe the human connect is much better at these places, and you understand a person maybe by meeting multiple times, understanding, trying to plan their journey, their investment journey, their wealth creation journey, helping them to follow it with discipline is what I think these will be the guiding factors for any distributors, be it metro or non-metro.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good news for the distributor community. Uh, I also wanted to bring up recently the Wealth company received approval for an SIF. So, first off, congratulations to the Wealth
Thank
company.
you.
But I wanted to hear your thoughts. Although you have a separate CIO for SIFs, but I still wanted to hear your thoughts on where do you think SIF will fit into the overall investment landscape between mutual funds, PMS, AIF. Where do you think it'll fit in? How do you think investors will react, and how can the distribution community take advantage?
Yeah. So actually, it's a ladder, a mutual, I mean, equity investments or even fixed investment, or maybe first step on the wealth creation should start with a mutual fund. Okay, so those investors which are new to these products, or maybe have a low risk appetite, should look at mutual fund as a first as the channel to do the investments. This channel has, I mean, these products have a lot of good liquidity, varied, I mean, diverse products to choose from. I think it covers all the breadth and depth of it. And once an investor gets used to the dynamic nature of the equity culture, and then the kind of drawdowns, or it may lead to at some point of time, if you are able to digest all that and you still have some more appetite for higher risk, then the next product should be the SIF, systematic specialized investment fund. So because even SEBI has kind of done a minimum ticket size of 10 lakhs and upwards. So that could be the next in the ladder. और उसके बाद जो आता है वो PMS आता है जो मिनिमम 50 lakhs का है. उसमें ज़्यादा फोकस्ड यानी मे बी लेस नंबर ऑफ स्टॉक्स ऐसे सारा पोर्टफोलियो कंस्ट्रक्ट होता है. एंड आई थिंक द फाइनली इट कुड बी एन AIF. सो AIF में भी कैटेगरीज है, लिस्टेड स्पेस में है, unlisted space में है. So it depends upon the hierarchy of an investor about the risk, how much risk they are willing to take, and how much disposable income they are willing to invest into. Gradually, the product getting riskier. I think, yeah.
All right. Now, before we continue to the next question, I'd like to inform everyone in the session that now would be a good time to put your questions across because the next question will be one of my last questions. And immediately after Shankar answers that, we can get to answering your audience questions. So please input your questions in the box. There's a Q&A box. Go ahead and add them in, and I'll read it out. Finally, my last question is if you could just give 5 tips for asset allocation practices for MFDs. Not necessarily just for asset allocation, but mistakes that they can avoid making when doing asset allocation for a client's portfolio. If you could just.
Yeah, so here is it's like that in a sense we should always have question paper first and then we write the answers. Not that we write the answers and then try to frame questions. So that process is what you need to follow properly. So what you need to do is that, I mean, of course, so many of you would be doing it, and you have been doing it for the betterment of the services what you give it to the investors. Is that understand the investor, understand, plan. I mean, pen down their goals for what they want the money, for what they want to invest, which what is that purpose. It could be short term goal also, it could be mid term goal also, it could be a long term goal also. So you need to bucket, tear them out, इन अ सेंस 0 to 0, अभी से 12 महीने तक के लिए कितने पैसे की जरूरत है, 12 से 3 साल के लिए कितने पैसे की जरूरत है, 3 साल के ऊपर के लिए किस कौन सी चीजों के लिए आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो और उसके लिए क्या क्या चीजें लगेंगी, कितने पैसे लगेंगे, इन्फ्लेशन क्या हो सकता है, ये सारा हमको अभी बहुत सारे टूल्स भी है, वहां से आप देख के कर सकते हो। और दूसरी ये जो बात है, ये अगर ये प्लान होने के बाद वो उनको एक्सप्लेन करना जरूरी है, फिर उनको एग्री करवाना जरूरी है कि दिस इज द प्लान एंड दिस इज द वे, दीज आर फॉर एवरी टाइम फ्रेम और द टाइम होराइजन देर आर मल्टीपल प्रोडक्ट्स यू कैन हैव, plan the design the structure or structure the portfolio like that which is suitable for that time frame। ओके, जो अगर लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए चाहिए तो वो उसको ज़्यादा फिक्स्ड इनकम में ना रखिए, उसको इक्विटी का पोर्शन थोड़ा ज़्यादा होना चाहिए। वो इन्वेस्टर का एज क्या है, उसकी रिस्क एपेटाइट क्या है, वो मतलब उसके इनकम सोर्सेज क्या है, उनके खर्चे कितने हैं, ये सारा भी देखना बहुत ज़रूरी है। आई थिंक इफ यू आर एबल टू प्लान दिस, राइट इट डाउन, प्लान इट प्रॉपरली, मोस्ट ऑफ द मिस्टेक्स कैन बी अवॉइडेड। फिर थर्ड जो मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट जो थी चीज़ है इसमें, वो है डिसिप्लिन ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट। जैसे हेल्थ इंपॉर्टेंट है वैसे वेल्थ भी इंपॉर्टेंट है। जैसे आप मतलब कुछ भी जरूरत लगेगी हेल्थ के लिए आप डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो, वैसे वेल्थ के लिए आपको एडवाइजर के पास जाना चाहिए। और जैसे हेल्थ का ख्याल आप रोज उठ के मतलब ब्रश करते हो, वैसे वेल्थ क्रिएशन के लिए आपको हर एक छोटी एसआईपी भी करनी जरूरी है। अभी तो एसआईपी डेली फ्रीक्वेंसी भी हो जाती है, तो आपको वो जरूर करना चाहिए, वो जरूर सजेस्ट करना चाहिए। सो उससे क्या होता है, आपका रिस्क बहुत सारे मतलब 250 डेज पे तो स्प्रेड आउट होता है। अगर समझो महीने में 20 दिन की एसआईपी होती है, 20 मतलब 4 वीक्स, सो सैटरडे संडे इज ऑफ, सो उस हिसाब से 5 दिन एक हफ्ते का, तो 4 हफ्ते में 20 एसआईपी होती है। तो योर रिस्क ऑल्सो गेट स्प्रेड ओवर लॉन्गर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। सो जो झटके लगते हैं वो शायद कम लगेंगे, तो जोर का धक्का भी धीमे से लगेगा। And I think that could be a good discipline. And try and talk them, understand why they, if they have to stop SIP or any investment in between, why are they doing it? Try to understand that reason. And if you feel that is a really a valid reason, then please go ahead. Don't stop them from doing that. But at the same time, if you are able to, if that is not a really valid reason, it is just for sake of shifting from one fund to another fund, I think you should tell them what are the kind of downside for that. I
Okay.
think काफी अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स, तो मतलब जिस तरह से जो समझने की कोशिश करते हैं बहुत अच्छा लगता है।
Okay. All right. Thank you for that answer. I'm sure our audience appreciated that. But now, everyone, please ask your questions. Ask any questions you'd like related to asset allocations. I'm sure you received also a lot of the answers before you asked the questions today. But in any case, if you have any questions, now's your chance. Please go ahead and put them in the Q&A box, and we'll answer them live on air. In the meantime, could you give me, I mean, you gave me a medium to long term outlook. What's your idea on what the next month will hold for Indian markets?
I won't able to tell you anything. I mean, we are not here to take that kind of a short-term views.
Fair enough.
Sorry for that.
No, no problem. In the meantime, we'll wait for our audience to have some questions for us. Anyone has any questions?
I think they are more than happy with the dialogue.
I think all their questions were answered before they got this.
Great.
That's
Sure.
great. Well,
Thanks, Suhail. Thanks a lot for, having us again.
yes, thank you, Ms. Shankar. Wait, actually, we have one question.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
just before it ended, how long do you think the gold rally will continue? By
सर अभी तो 5 साल का तो दिख रहा है आउटलुक अच्छा है। then we will have a review.
Okay, right.
See, the its main trigger has been a geopolitical uncertainty, and and then the depleting gold production and supply, and increasing demand. So अगर ये तीन factors है, I think we are in a long term bull run even for gold. Of course, it's not going to be one way. There could be some corrections here and there, but if you look at it a long term, it will be one of the better asset class, better return generating asset class.
Okay, well, that was Sir Santosh Mahapatra. And the next is from Mr. Jay Kishore. What's the classic difference between SIF and hedge funds?
Mm. You need to excuse me. I
Okay, and we'll ask two more questions. Can you please talk about the fund manager who will be managing your multi-asset allocation fund and his background and experience?
Yeah. So I will be the lead fund manager. I have been working in a mutual fund industry for almost 36 years. My first 15 years, I was with Unit Trust of India. Last 18 years, I was with SBI Mutual Fund, which is the largest mutual fund of the country. And I have been managing funds from 2012 onwards. I have managed multiple strategies, like starting with the international mandates, which was advisory discretionary both, then thematic funds and then sectoral funds. And also I manage multi-cap strategy, which was for the MENA region investors.
Shankar has a lot of experience. And I think that was all the questions. We have one last question. What is the benchmark performance for multi-asset allocation funds?
It's a composition of NSE 200 and CRISIL and gold and silver prices.
All right then. Thank you, Ms. Shankar, for joining in.
Thank you so much.
It
Thanks, Soil. It was nice talking to you.
was a pleasure having you, and thank you for all the participants for staying with us as well. We'll be uploading this to our YouTube channel as well. And thank you again, Ms. Shankar. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye. Take
Goodbye.
care.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.